Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your April 2021 general reading. We are looking at the first 2 weeks of April, and this reading is for the fire sign of Aries. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, safe and healthy where you're at, reasonably sane as we walk through another little bit better year, hopefully. Well, it is a better year, slow but sure. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to this video, for all that you do in support of this YouTube channel. Even if it's just nothing more than watching the videos, hit that subscribe button. It really does make a difference. And like and share if you're so inclined. So this reading is for the fire sign of Aries for the first 2 weeks of April 2021. That's if your sun, moon, rising, and Venus sign is in Aries. It's also relevant if you're cross-watching for an Aries as well. Of course, it's a general reading. It's always going to resonate a little differently for everyone, especially in the exact details of your life. So watch all of your signs if you know them for additional insight and perspective. If you find that this video or any of the readings resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading or information, maybe take a little deeper look at something, you can click on the description link below, click on that little arrow. You'll see my email address there, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to hear from you. I can usually respond within the same day with more information. I do offer a wide variety of readings. And I do readings full-time. It's all that I do. So I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules and my own to get personal readings set up as quickly as possible. So email me if you'd like. I'd be delighted to hear from you. Okay, Aries, let's see what the first 2 weeks have in store for you. I am using the Tarot of Dreams and clarifying with one of the Gilded Tarot decks. I think the Gilded Tarot Royale. Okay, Aries. Okay, Aries. We begin with the Four of Swords. Perhaps taking a temporary step out or time out, with the Two of Cups, traditional soulmate, kindred spirit, best friend. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Ten of Wands. We have Faith, which is also known as the Hierophant in other decks, with the Two of Coins. And from the bottom of the deck, I'm going to take that because two came out. We have from the bottom of the deck for overall energy, we have the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Swords. There's been a lot of energy for a lot of the signs the last set of readings or two that seems to be particularly focused in the relationship area of life, and this one is no different. There is a relationship central here with the Two of Cups, traditional soulmate, kindred spirit, some kind of karmic connection. For some of you, it might be romantic. For others of you, it might be best friend, kindred spirits, or some combination of the two. There's a timeout energy with or around this partnership because we have the Four of Swords, which is a card of taking a temporary reprieve from a battle, a conflict, a challenge, an issue of some kind to get rest, restoration, get a different perspective. How this plays out in regards to the coupleship, of course, is going to vary in a general reading. For some of you, you may be taking a temporary timeout or a step back from the relationship itself to consider things. And it might be for some of you that you're taking a break with your partner. There's this sense here. There's this sense here of wanting to, I almost get this like choke chain collar sort of feeling of feeling overwhelmed or burdened, or like you want a particular thing to come to an end so you can run off and have a new beginning or start something else exciting, and thinking about different options, but feeling very held back from being able to explore your options, or feeling restricted in some way. I mean, the overall energy is the Seven of Cups, which is a card about, other options, daydreaming, fantasizing, building castles in the sky, considering a lot of different options, all more perfect and beautiful, than the last one. But with that is the Eight of Swords, which is a card of feeling, restricted and held back by thoughts, ideas, ideologies, perspectives, situations. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. It feels like there's it feels like you want to do something or want to go somewhere or want to start something new because you're tired of whatever it is you've been doing or been involved in, but you feel held back somehow. And a choice needs to be made here. I mean, we have the Ace of Wands, which is exciting new beginnings, the beginning of action, activity, creativity, movement forward. But yet it comes with the Ten of Wands, which is a card of feeling burdened and overwhelmed, wanting to have a new beginning, wanting to let go of this, wanting to cut and run, I'm getting. And maybe taking a temporary step back or time away to kind of consider things. We have Faith, otherwise known as the Hierophant, with the Two of Coins. The Two of Coins represents being at a crossroads, just like most twos do. Duality, juggling two things, trying to make a decision. And over it is Faith, which in this deck, the Hierophant, you know, is convention, tradition, the establishment, the tried and true way, traditions, you know, cultural backgrounds, institutions, you know. Faith can represent a large body of people all with the same basic ideology headed in the same direction. And the perks about Faith and the Hierophant is that you belong to a group, so you have kind of the sheltering umbrella and safety and security of belonging to a group where everybody's kind of, you know, doing the same thing the same way, traditions, you know. But there can sometimes be a sacrifice, some sacrifice of self-expression and individuality. So a choice needs to be made. It looks like it's whether it's to break away from something, like bucking the system or saying no to the way that everybody else is doing it in your area or in whatever this situation is, or sticking with the tried and true path, or maybe the path you grew up in or something of that sort, and feeling restricted here. Let's clarify a little bit. Let's clarify the Four of Swords. Why the temporary step back? The Two of Swords, because you feel stuck. You're not quite sure which way to go. Sometimes this card represents being reluctant and resistant to look at something, because then if you do, you have to make a choice once and for all, and there's consequences for our choices. The Three of Pentacles, teamwork, collaboration, compromise, and negotiation. So there's a temporary kind of taking a step back, whether it's mentally or physically, because you feel stuck. You don't know how to compromise and negotiate or meet in the middle with this partner. It feels here, Aries, like you might be being, some of you, the crossroads that you're at might be making a commitment that is more conventional in nature versus not making a commitment. It feels like committing to a conventional path or completely breaking away from it. And perhaps you're in a relationship where one of you is on that conventional path and the other one isn't. And how do you meet in the middle? There's a sense of feeling stuck. And there's also perhaps I'm getting maybe this fear that if you commit to this conventional path, that it's going to take away all your freedoms or all your options or all your choices. Clarify the Ten of Wands, this feeling of feeling overburdened or overwhelmed and it needing to come to an end. The Ace of Cups. New beginnings, new emotional beginnings, renewal in a situation. Clarify faith. The Devil. Gosh, the Devil is clarifying faith in the Hierophant. The Ace of Wands again, so we have the Ace of Wands twice, and the World. Successful completion, moving on to something else. So the Devil represents a negative or toxic cycle, one that you feel caught in, that perhaps might be unhealthy, but you've been doing it for quite some time. There's something tempting about it, which makes it difficult to break free from. The Ace of Wands and the World. It feels like you're caught, Aries. It feels like maybe you, and this could also be your partner. This is interesting because it's somewhat similar to your sister sign Leo's reading, who is in a relationship with somebody who has a tendency to cut and run. And even though there may not be infidelity and cheating, it's not a partnership in the sense that the other person is there for them when they need them because they're gone so much. And here, it feels like there might be a cyclical habit that you have, or a way of living that you've lived for a long time of perhaps, it feels like one of the people in this relationship, whether it's you or the other person, has a tendency to cut and run when things get difficult or challenging, or you're asked to commit or to be accountable for a commitment. And that's when you want to leave, to cut and run. And perhaps this person, you or the other person, they'll come back, but then again, they always tend to cut and run again. And I'm seeing this here as a negative cycle. And with this clarifying faith, I feel like you're at a crossroads within a relationship, and perhaps this has been a long time coming, Aries. And you're being asked to either commit in a conventional sort of way or not. But it looks like if you don't, that will probably, if you continue in this cycle or the other person continues in this cycle, it is likely that the relationship cannot survive that it can't continue. Because it feels like the partnership is uneven in one person being there for the other person and the other person not being there when the other person needs them. It feels like an uneven balance. Like one person is involved with somebody who comes and goes and comes and goes, especially when difficulties or problems arise. They have a tendency to leave or to cut out. And the other person is kind of left kind of holding everything. Or, having to be on their own, or struggle as if they're on their own when really they're in a relationship, so they should have another partner to be able to count on. That's sort of what I'm getting here. Again, you might be on one side or the other of the fence. If it's not a romantic relationship, it still feels like there might be a group of people or a body of people or something. It's like, look, this is the path that you say you're on, then you need to commit to that path instead of coming and going and coming and going and being sort of hypocritical about it, is what I'm getting. Let me clarify the Two of Coins. The Four of Swords again, taking a time out. The Eight of Cups, leaving, walking away. The Eight of Wands, also a card of leaving, fast movement, conversation, travel. The Knight of Wands, fast movement, leaving, impulsive, spontaneous. Yeah. So whether this is about the relationship itself or some other area of life and it affects the relationship, there's all this energy about coming and going and coming and going. And feeling like you want to have your options of leaving, of coming and going and coming and going. And there isn't anything wrong with that. But in a committed relationship, that's not really sustainable in the long term, because there's no stability. And the other person, whoever's doing the coming and going, the other person who's often left behind, there's not the security and stability of knowing that their partner is reliable, or if their partner is going to be there for them if they need them. And just kind of being in that partnership because you don't know if they're going to be here or not be here. And that kind of a relationship is not healthy, and it's not sustainable in the long run. And I feel like this is a cycle for the person who's in and out. I feel like this is a cycle that's probably been in place for a long time before this relationship came into being. So there's probably reasons for that. However, in this relationship, it looks like it's not healthy, and the conflict about that is being brought to the surface, perhaps by your partner and perhaps by another person or other people as well, saying, look, if you want to be in a relationship where you still get to function as if you're single, then you need to be single and not be in a relationship. So you need to do this. You need to fish or cut bait, as my father used to say, and you're at kind of that crossroads, or the person who's doing the coming and going in this situation is at a crossroads. The interesting thing is that it feels like you think that, or the person who's afraid of doing the conventional thing is afraid that if they do that, it takes away all their freedom and choices. It doesn't. In a real healthy relationship, it's an actual 50-50 partnership. To commit doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden got handcuffs and chains. That's about how you work it out within yourself. But the way that it is now doesn't feel sustainable because there's not stability and reliability here. And hence the being at the crossroads. Interesting reading. So I'm going to ask for advice and guidance, not the decision as to what to do, because this is a general reading, and some might decide they can't really commit, and so because of that, it would be the most honorable thing would be to end the relationship, and some are undecided. Let's just see what Spirit thinks here. Advice, guidance, feedback for Aries. And I feel almost like it's coming off as kind of parental or patronizing, and I hope it's not. I don't mean for it to. But what this really feels like is that the person who's coming and going and feeling like if they make a commitment that all of a sudden, their life is over or something. And it feels like they're being asked, hey, what are you going to do? Okay, if you want to go and live that kind of life, fine, but do the right thing and let this person go, Some of you during this time may be traveling, moving, leaving. You may be leaving behind a relationship. You may be leaving behind a lifetime with another person. And just kind of venturing out into the unknown. For some of you, this is a relationship connection that is already over. I lost that, so it must not have been too important. All right, advice and guidance for Aries. Strength. And the Five of Swords. Free will, free agency. You can do whatever you feel that you need to do. But Spirit here is advising the majority of Aries that are watching this to face what you're afraid of, and to fight the fight. The Five of Swords is a hard-won victory. It's winning, but it's been a difficult battle. And strength is literally that. It's having the strength and courage to face your doubts, your fears, your insecurities, your responsibility in situations. Perhaps take a look at your patterns. Are they unhealthy? Where are they coming from? Are there aspects of myself that I really need to change and could change? What part did I play in this? What's my responsibility? And that can be very difficult to do. It's kind of like looking in a really stark, clear mirror where you see all the good aspects of yourself and all the challenging or negative, defective aspects of yourself that really could and should be changed. And having the strength and courage and wisdom and humility to look at those things, accept what can't be changed, work on the things that you can. It takes a lot of those qualities to be able to do something like this. But it's also the qualities you gain more of by going through this process and coming out the other side. It doesn't look easy. I think you're being asked here, Aries, for those of you for whom this is an active relationship and you feel that yet again cyclical pull, oh, it's time to leave, oh, things are getting challenging, or oh, I've been home for 4 months and I gotta go now, I think you're being asked to take a look at that. I think you're being asked to take a look at how it's affecting your partner, if it's fair, and if there's, some kind of middle ground here, and taking a look at your part in that. For others of you, I'm getting for a very small portion of you, like a smaller percentage of you, that this is something to do with a partnership or a relationship that's already gone or over or has ended somehow. And you've lingered for a while, but you're now moving on away from it, maybe even moving physically, traveling physically, moving physically. Maybe it all ends up coming together rather quickly. And this whole process of leaving behind basically a memory or the memory of a lifetime with somebody is difficult. And you're being asked to face your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, and move forward into basically the great unknown here with the World card. So that's for a smaller percentage of people, not within this active relationship that has challenges and one person is sort of acting like they're single but not. This is for somebody, because there's somebody out there, a few somebodies out there for whom you're leaving the memory of the relationship or the experiences, your life together or something of that sort. You're leaving the familiar and the known to go off into the unknown, which is a whole new unexplored landscape of possibility, but it's also rather scary and intimidating. And you're being asked to kind of put your head up and look at the lion and figure out what you're afraid of and insecure about, and and move forward anyway and kind of go through it. Either way, you're being asked fundamentally to examine your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, make peace with them, and move forward. That's what you're being asked to do. All right, Aries. Well, that is your reading for the first half of April. I hope it was helpful and useful, or at least not too confusing. It felt very specific for just two groups of Aries, so it might not resonate with everybody, at least if it's your sun sign. Watch your other signs if you know them. So Aries, I hope it was useful to you. Again, if any of this resonated with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, take a deeper look at something, feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted and happy to hear from you and to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the April mid-month readings. Until then, stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, try and stay as happy and sane as possible. Be blessed. I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.